Seeking to swoop in on past successes with Aria of Sorrow and Portrait of Ruin, the PSP has procured a handheld candle whipper of its own with the Dracula X Chronicles. While Nintendo's titles have taken the series through interesting and creative tangents, the Dracula X Chronicles sticks to its remake roots with a mashup of tried-and-true gameplay elements and a new face for the new millennium. Beauty may be skin-deep, but under the new facade lays a timeless formula for fun that simply doesn't age. Time has passed since famed hero Simon Belmont vanquished Dracula from his keep, but after a 100-year catnap, the boisterous bloodsucker is back on the prowl. This time whisking a young maiden named Annette away to his castle for a little midnight snack. As it turns out, Annette's main squeeze is none other than Richter Belmont, and her abduction sends the whip-cracking whippersnapper racing towards Castlevania's gates for another ancestral showdown with Old Drac. While it's not quite as elegantly realized as the other musically themed Castlevania games, Rondo of Blood's story elements are still a cut above most side-scrollers, with its use of cutscenes and dialogue to punctuate the action across the levels.
Dass nach 100 Jahren das Böse wieder Fleisch geworden war.
Besides, you don't need too much of an impetus when it comes to whipping murderous crows out of the sky. Despite a graphical makeover in 3D, Rondo of Blood is still built on the premise that fans of the series know best: pure old-school side-scrolling action. In place of traversing a continuous map of Dracula's castle, progression in Rondo of Blood consists of completing a series of stages with branching paths, leading to various sublevels and detours. Ultimately, all of these branches converge towards an encounter with the quarrelsome Count himself, but deciding how to go about this tangled path is entirely up to you. Hidden within Rondo of Blood's many levels are bonuses that include unlockable music tracks, characters, and yes, games. It's no secret that the big bonus happens to be Symphony of the Night, as well as the original sprite version of Rondo of Blood, but you'll have to scrounge around the remake's various nooks and crannies to find them. Fortunately, there's also a stage select mode, so you can retread old ground without having to relive the entire ordeal over again. These secrets are hidden with great care, with some being sinister enough as to encourage you to plummet to your doom, only to find a hidden path to the next level. There's also Boss Rush mode, which pits the players in a gauntlet against all the other game's bosses in consecutive or random ordering. As with Portrait of Ruin, players can pair up cooperatively using the game's Wi-Fi connection to race against the clock for the best score. A standard run through the game can take as little as one sitting for experienced vampire hunters, but greenhorns, untrained in the ways of the whip, will find a challenge waiting for them. On top of that, plundering the game's many secrets is a hardy endeavor that's sure to take some time and explorative know-how to complete. Not to mention having to do nearly the same thing entirely over again in the unlockable original version of Rondo of Blood, and tackling a new adventure altogether in Symphony of the Night. Suffice to say, there's plenty of meat to sink your teeth into. The levels in Rondo of Blood aren't the only thing old school about the game. The controls fall very much in line with the old Nintendo classics, where it's more about carefully timed jumps and whip cracks than fancy familiars and frivolous magic spells. As with all the Belmonts, Richter's weapons of choice are his trusty vampire killer whip and a sub-weapon powered by hearts. To spiff things up, Richter can also execute a double jump backflip and a powerful item crash that amplifies the effect of his currently equipped sub-weapon. Joining Richter in his excursion into Dracula's digs is Maria Renard, a veritable Buffy in training who calls upon magic and animals to do her bidding. Picking between Richter and Maria is more about preference than necessity, as you can opt to complete the game with either character. Doing so yields different endings and different ways to play. Richter, for one, is a slower but sturdier candidate for the job, while Maria is more of an agile, yet fragile fighter. Series purists that prefer pixels over polygons may be set aback by a certain slowness with the remake's 3D graphics, but the overall control scheme of the game strikes a good balance between old-school mechanics and a snazzy new look in its 2.5D presentation. In addition, the ability to switch freely between Richter and Maria adds a sense of tactile variety to keep the game from being stale. It's a slick condensation of all the things that make the old and new Castlevania games memorable. And for a 20-year-old system, it still does its job at getting the blood pumping. While not particularly impressive, Rondo of Blood's graphical makeover does well to rekindle the same familiar Castlevania aesthetic to match its traditional style of play. Here, the environments themselves receive the biggest benefit from the jump to 3D, with stages that seem to pop into the foreground, adding some visual flair. When it comes to music, few games can rock the harpsichord like Castlevania. Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night contain some of the catchiest tunes of the series, which can subsequently be heard at your leisure in Dracula X Chronicles sound test mode. As crisp as the musical tracks are, though, the delivery of the localized voice acting is still as ham-fisted as ever.
They can see it from heaven. They were killed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rondo of Blood may not bat too many eyelashes on its own, but as a compilation, the Dracula X Chronicles is a smart package of everything good about the series, down to the last crumb of skeleton dust. With one of the best Castlevania games you've played, and one you likely haven't, the Dracula X Chronicles stands as a prime choice for any respectable side-scroller enthusiast's morgue of solid action titles.